remember last week I talked about 1858. Not much was really going on until the Russell party gathered at Bridgeport, headed up past Fort Pueblo, up along Cherry Creek until they showed up just a few blocks here, Cherry Creek in the South Platte River. What were they looking for? I mentioned this to my wife, who has a good sense of humor. You know what Sally said they were looking for? Girls. They weren't looking for girls, they were looking for gold. The Russell party probably found at the most $500 or $600 worth of gold right over here. But the word got out. The Eastern newspapers played it up. Gold, gold in Colorado. Here they came, folks. They were called the 59ers. Down the Oregon Trail, Smoky Hill Trail, Cherokee Trail, all heading to make their fortune in gold. Some of them even thought they could just get out in the creek and start shoveling up gold nuggets, and they would be wealthy. Some of them returned heartbroken because they really didn't find much. What were these people called? They were called go-backers. Hundreds, thousands of the 59ers showed up as they spread out up into the hills, past the creek, they got up into the hills, started digging. The best areas of gold were the Central City area, the Caribou Mine outside of Ward, and Gold Hill west of Boulder. In 1859, this is probably the hot spots at that time. The best miners were the Cornish miners. They were called by nickname of called Cousin Jack. They could timber, they could drive drifters with think shafts, they could de-water the mine. They were the very best. But they were superstitious. They believed underground that there were little people. These little people had pointed heads, pointed ears, they had work freaks, little big eyes. They always had smiles on their faces. They were called Tommy Knockers. Years ago, I worked underground. Quite often, I looked in my lunchbox and half of my sandwich had been eaten. One time, I turned around and someone had hidden the people. Do you believe in Tommy Knockers? Do you believe in Tommy Knockers? Next week, we'll be talking about looking for the mother lode here in Colorado. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. So each time we're here at the BAC during the month of February, we'll be having a mining topic in a little 2-minute snippet, as well as a special speaker on the history of mining. Transportation comes next in March, so we will walk through several different industries in the progression of Colorado and Rotary for the 100 years. I'd like to turn the podium over for a memorial resolution presented by Sandy Adams.
Can everybody hear me? Good. I'm here to present a memorial resolution for Elaine Woodruff. And before I do that, I'd like to tell you how I know Elaine. Elaine was part of the bridge group that Steve Close puts together every other Wednesday. And we played at the University Club. And Steve's not here, but he told me to mention when he puts together it's like a manifest, and people play with different people every week. And he said that Elaine was the most requested bridge player that people wanted to partner with. And not necessarily because of any skills that any of us have or don't have, but because she was so kind when, She was so kind, and that when you screwed up, she never would really beat on anybody. She would smile sweetly and try and encourage you to just keep going. So that was what Steve wanted me to offer. And anyway, Elaine, it was Catherine Elaine Woodruff eventually, but she was born Catherine Elaine Boren on October 12, 1940 in Imperial, Texas. Elaine lost a hard-fought battle with cancer on November 22nd, 2010. Elaine spent 3 months at MD Anderson in Houston, Texas, during which time Elaine and Tom lived at the Rotary house, which is kind of like a Ronald McDonald house in Houston, associated then with MD Anderson. When Elaine realized that it was a battle that was not going to be won, she chose to return home. And Elaine celebrated her 70th birthday with her typical style and grace the month before she died. She received a BA in English from Our Lady of the Lake University in San Antonio, Texas, her Master of Fine Arts in Creative Writing from the University of Alaska in Fairbanks, and her PhD in English from the University of Denver in 1987. Elaine met her future husband, Tom, while both were working on graduate degrees in Alaska. Tom was very proud that Elaine was raised on a farm and went on to earn a PhD, become a full professor at Colorado Christian University, and become a world-renowned poet. During her career as a teacher, professor, poet, she taught various types of English courses at Our Lady of the Lake College and Jefferson High School, both in San Antonio, Owensboro, Kentucky High School, Fruita, Colorado High School, Monroe, Fairbanks, Alaska High School, University of Alaska, University of Colorado, Regis University, and ultimately Colorado Christian University. A trustee of the University of Alaska Alumni Association and a member of the Academy of American Poets, International Society of Poets, International Women's Writing Guild, and the National Women's Hall of Fame, Elaine had many honors over her short life. She was recognized over multiple years by Who's Who in the World, Who's Who of American Women, Who's Who in America, Who's Who in the West, Who's Who of American Educators, and Outstanding Young Woman of America. Her accomplishments in poetry include being invited to be an associate member of the American Academy of Poets, having a poem recognized as Poet's Choice by International Society of Poets, having the poem An Invitation to Zaire accepted as Best Poem of the Year, being nominated for Poet Laureate of Colorado, being nominated by the International Society of Poets as one of the Poets of the Year, and being presented with the Editor's Choice Award for Outstanding Achievement in Poetry by the National Library of Poetry. Unrelated to poetry, Elaine had another achievement of which Tom was particularly proud. Having played tennis as a girl, Elaine took it up again in 1997 at the Meadows Tennis Club in Boulder and competed in many tournaments. Her team was so good that they went on to the Nationals and ultimately placed second. Tom expected nothing less since Elaine was a champion volleyball player when she was a girl in West Texas, who went on to compete at the state level. I'll first mention Elaine, her warm and beautiful smile. And we express deep sympathy to her husband Tom, who's here today, who's our fellow Rotarian, and their son David, who's currently of Denver, soon to be of Baltimore, and son Robert, daughter-in-law Carla, and grandson Carlos of Albuquerque. And I would be remiss without passing on this fact that when Elaine was homebound, Peter Bowes, as a Eucharistic minister, went to Elaine and administered communion through the hospice of St. John. And this meant so much to Elaine, and Tom will never forget it. He's very grateful. So, Mr. President,